All right, so that, of course, was the debate within the British Parliament about an emergency over the steel production within the United Kingdom. Let's now shift our attention to some other stories now, where the White House has said that the American President Donald Trump is optimistic about striking a trade deal with China, even as the world's two largest economies clash over the tariffs. The bigger impact of the escalating trade war will be on African nations who are already reeling from the US aid cuts. The United Nations Trade Union says that the global trade could in fact shrink by nearly 3%, with significant long-term shifts in trade patterns and economic integration. The United Nations agency further added that the least developed nations are the most exposed to instabilities, referring to the poorer sub-Saharan African nations.
Could shrink by 3%, with significant long-term shifts in trade patterns and economic integration. For example, exports from Mexico, which have been highly impacted, are shifting from markets such as the US, China, Europe, and even other Latin American countries, with modest gains instead in Canada and Brazil, and to a lesser extent, India.
Now, trade policies play a vital role in shaping international trade and the world economy, and both the United States and China are important trade partners of sub-Saharan Africa. Now, these economic and trade relationships are materialized through different agreements over the years. However, the uncertainty in Trump's tariff play is weighing in on the outlook for African nations. The tariff uncertainty is also upending the global supply chains and is weighing in on the countries that need the most help currently. The possibility of changing trading patterns is also emerging. China is eyeing the African countries and other Asian nations for increased trade amidst a tariff showdown with the United States. And still, the World Health Organization has warned that many countries face double whammy from the US policies, including tariffs and aid cuts.
Yes, the tariffs are a big problem, and the problem is also that when it comes to sub-Saharan African nations, some of the poorest nations with the smallest economies, the weakest economies, seem to have been the worst hit. So countries such as Lesotho, Madagascar, Cote d'Ivoire, a large chunk of their GDP could be wiped out by the tariffs if they continue, if they're sustained. Most of sub-Saharan Africa is reliant on imports of pharmaceuticals. The continent is a net importer of pharmaceutical products. And so if you put this together with the fact that the more general financial crisis, devaluation of currencies, depletion of foreign exchange reserves, and very sticky inflation, if you put all this together, really the bill for importing pharmaceutical products is going to get bigger.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.